Hi, this is Sive Morten with the daily update on EuroFX. I post my exclusive market overviews with the key political and economical events, charts and important levels on the ForexPeaceArmy.com forums weekly. This short video is a response to rapidly changing situation on the currency markets and should help you to stay on top of the game and be profitable. I suggest you to visit the ForexPeaceArmy.com forum and read my analysis for the week before watching this daily video. Okay guys, now let's take a look at the euro currency again. So here on the daily time frame we see that market looks like has chosen the second way to develop that we have talked about in our weekly research. We said, in fact we have discussed a lot concerning these previous highs, and that in general this action on the daily time frame has some signs of this housing, but as we have discussed this picture on the daily time frame, it's very often when the market forms some housing pattern right near the previous highs, very often this pattern fails because in terms of the bullish continuation, that's reversal pattern fails and market continue move higher because there are a lot of stops have been placed right above it, and when the market hits the target, the stops add buying trades since they start to trigger and add buying to upward action, and in fact add more fuel to the upward action. Although yesterday's action to the downside was deeper than we suspected and we didn't get our bread by the buy, market has continued to move lower below the weekly pivot point. I think that we are not done yet with the potential upward action. That still could happen because currently scenario is developing on the second way. As we said, that if market will not show us the retracement from the weekly pivot point and continuation to the upside, we could get the 3-drive sell pattern here. And now this opportunity still holds because you take a look that 127 extension stands precisely at the previous top. That was the almost looking like the bearish engulfing pattern. Market starts move down. If we will measure this retracement and count extension to the upside, you will see that the 127 of that retracement and 1618 of that retracement coincide in the tight range, slightly higher than the previous swing high and slightly higher than the weekly pivot resistance one. That is context for the 3-drive sell pattern. That very often happens with this pattern. Also take a look that this development accompanied by the divergence of the MACD indicator right near the previous swing high. So I think that we still could get the upward action and we still could get the 3-drive pattern. If market will fail here, turn to the downside and will pass through this weekly pivot support one, start move in fact to the downside, that probably will tell us that that's the end and we should be ready at minimum to the deeper retracement to the downside. Probably that will be at minimum the 50% support of the whole move to the upside. That's in general what we could expect in the nearest future in the current week on the euro currency. If you will take a look at the 4-hour time frame, here we see our butterfly. That's reversal pattern, and what is interesting, that market now is forming some consolidation looking like the bearish flag pattern right at the 50% support. So in fact this bounce to the downside is just the 50% retracement, and euro currency likes to do the 50% retracements. Well, depending on how market will behave around this area, that will tell us whether we should count on the potential upward action as was said on the daily time frame, or market still will continue to move down. If market will fail there at the 50% support, moves down, then probably the chances that market will continue to move down will increase, and the probability of appearing 3-drive sell pattern on the daily time frame will become lower and lower, depending on how deep market will continue to move down. On the hourly time frame, I see the pattern that in fact could trigger this upward action. Here we have some sort of the double repo buy right at the 50% support. So nice thrust down, excellent thrust. No retracements, no significant retracement within this thrust, no penetration, close above the 3x3 with this thrust. Well, slightly deep penetration of the 3x3. So But this is not the 3-8 retracement of the thrust of the double ripple. That's good. That consolidation here that looks like the triangle, it's a bit not perfectly looking, but yeah, I prefer to see a tighter range between the tops, between the bottoms of the double ripple, and not such significant moving above the 3x3 within the penetration. But that's okay, that probably could work. That's the pattern that we have, and in fact that pattern could trigger this upward action and could lead to the appearing of the 3-drive pattern. Don't forget that this pattern is appearing right now at the 50% support. That is the major level for the euro currency. Also, another moment that we also have discussed in our weekly research, that is temptation of the previous highs. When the market stands very close to these previous highs, it has some temptation to at least to wash and rinse of these highs, showing some upward action. Market very rare turns in the opposite direction just before the few pips of hitting the previous highs. Very often, and as a rule, market challenge these highs, no matter where the market will continue to move up or is just will test these highs, grab the stops above it, and turn to the downside. That doesn't matter. But when the market stands very close to the previous highs, there is a great probability of challenging them, rather than just leave them behind and turn to the downside. Well, those of you guys who are trading on the gold market probably understand what I'm talking about. Well, that's in fact what I see currently on the euro currency. Well, let's see how this situation will develop, but I suspect that that market is not done with the upward action. Yes, we've got some deeper move below the weekly pivot point, although that would be perfect action if market will test the weekly pivot point and turn to the upside from the bullish perspective. That is what we have desired to see on the euro currency, but market has chosen a bit different way to act, and now we have to deal with the scenario that market gives us. So that is potential for, that's probably the double ripple pattern that could work, and let's see what will happen.